Ew, they're the boys right now. Donnie Wright's and also Tom Vecchio, 30 minutes till kickoff. But on Sundays, it's really 45 minutes till kickoff. We'll have some fun. Why? We actually have a game taking place in London. It's ugly right now. But did I just see why's the name escaping me right now?
Travis Hunter.
Yes, Travis Hunter. Just go over his prop right there. Did he just go over the prop?
I don't know. That was about a 12, 14-yard catch,
close.
so it does put him close.
Do you have anything in this game, Tommy, to start?
No, I threw together a little SGP, keep it simple, but other than that, no, I took a shot on Kyron Williams after the game started with the live TD boost, and I thought it was a great spot, and he's just not coming through. But it's been a slow game. Like Devontae is the 2 touchdowns, but only 34 yards.
It is crazy, too. And by the way, stat that Albert Breer just tweeted out, the Jaguars have had the ball in the Rams' territory 6 times and have 0 points. Yeah. You talking about brutal conversions. You kick a 50-yarder, then you don't. Then you go for it on 4th and 7. You don't get any points right now, and then all of a sudden the Rams just collapsing. I'm interested to see, I don't have the – that's a big play for Travis Hunter. Looks like he just got a touchdown unless that's going to get called back right now. So we'll see if that is. But Travis Hunter, no snaps on defense, more focus on offense. And it looks like he has first touchdown right now unless it's coming back. I don't think –
34-yard touchdown. I'm seeing – you're a play ahead of me on this NFL Plus stream. I think they're snapping now, but it's been a weird game where the Jags were behind. Yeah. They go for the field goal, as you said, they missed that, and then as soon as that happens, they're down 21-0. Now they have to start pushing the ball down the field. They have to start going forward on 4th down, and it all kind of compounds on itself where they can't operate normally, and going forward in Rams territory is a must, and none of that came through.
Trevor Lawrence now 19 of 39, 265 and a touchdown. Not really too much on the ground for Jacksonville or really for the Rams. 19 carries for 67 yards for the Rams and 16 carries for 67 yards for Jacksonville. But Hunter now 6 for 85, Tom, and a touchdown. Here's the thing. I don't really I like to pick out spots that I'm really comfortable with. Wasn't comfortable with a lot in this game. You know me. Over 2 touchdown passes would have been automatic if Puka Nacua was playing. Sort of step back. Now Matthew Stafford threw 4 touchdowns, so there you go. When I looked and heard all of we are going to focus on getting the football to Travis Hunter. Correct me if I'm wrong, Tom. I don't think he had a catch in the first half. So that's the stupidest thing I ever listened to. But now 6 catches, 11 targets, and 85 yards and a touchdown.
Yeah, I'll be honest. I wasn't sold on them saying, "Oh, we want to get the ball to Hunter." Some of that's subjective, where you have to filter through the coach speak and be like, "All right, is this actual fact?" And something that can be derived, where it's like, okay, he's playing on more snaps. He has more targets on a game-by-game basis. But just simply saying that is tough to trust when the offense does operate just inefficiently overall. The play calling wasn't great. And like you said, in the first half, he was basically quiet. I think he had maybe 1 catch for 10 yards. But to see them ramp up to 11 targets, now granted, some of this is in a full passing game script. They were down by 3 touchdowns, 4 touchdowns. Yeah. So would this hold true if they were playing a game that was 17-14 and they were up or down by just the field goal?
We'll see what happens here. 35 total points, Tom. This game went off around 44.5 to 45.5. So that's very much in doubt. Why? Because you just saw that. Yeah. You're probably going to have a lot of Jacksonville throwing the football. You're going to have a lot of the Rams just sinking back in deep coverage situations, giving them. We'll see what happens here as it turns out. But it looks like they're going to cover comfortably, at least we think, that -3-point shot as a favorite for the Rams. And Jacksonville will see if they can come back and see if they can grab that total. I didn't have any action in that game, so we're a clean slate right now. Don't have to sweat anything coming in, Tom. First game we'll take a look at this Sunday. People can't get enough of the Kansas City Chiefs. Rashee Rice is back, full blast for them. Las Vegas, top wide receiver down. You take a look at some other injuries. Obviously, Brock Bowers still not going to be available for this game. 11.5, Tom, now 13.5 in a total. Went from 46.5 to 44.5. No weather conditions in Kansas City. I would have loved to have taken Patrick Mahomes over 1.5 touchdown passes, Tom. But that's not really available. And he's like a -250 to do that. You have to take over 2.5. Do I think he can do that? Yes, I do. But I also always talk about, Tom, getting a running mate from Las Vegas. I don't know what I'm getting out of the Las Vegas offense. I stayed away from this game. But if you say, Donnie, no interest, no odds, does Patrick Mahomes throw 2 touchdowns? Yes, he does.
Yeah, absolutely. I would say it's a tough number in the NFL for it to be that high, especially that it was 11.5 up to 13.5. Can they win this game conceivably by 2 touchdowns comfortably and it really not be a sweat for you to cash that bet? Absolutely, especially the fact that Brock Bowers is out. It was announced early that Jacoby Myers is out for the Raiders. Their passing game has been terrible. I will say the one play I have in this game is Rice to catch a pass on the first drive. Yes. That was minus 140. It's up to minus 150. Whatever boost you had, like I have a 10% boost lying around from whatever, 20% boost. I boosted it up, so it's at minus 127 for me. I absolutely think they will throw him the ball. Whether or not he catches it is different, but I would still play it at minus 140 throw boost.
Yeah, I think you had a couple weeks ago we were talking about, I hit the A.J. Brown prop over 4.5 catches. I think you had A.J. Brown to catch one in the first drive, which he did in that football game. So it makes some sense where when you have a new player coming back into the fold, it's not like we have to run a deep route 65 yards. Simple in-cut here, 5-yard catch, get him ingrained back in there, and away you go at that point. So I do think it does make some sense. If we're looking at prop bets in this game, Tom, and we start at the quarterback position, we have Patrick Mahomes 258.5. Geno Smith is only 204.5. But that's still a pretty good Kansas City defense. Are we getting a low number on Geno Smith? Because, the numbers would dictate it's supposed to be a blowout from Kansas City. So what you're seeing with Trevor Lawrence, you can always get yards. But is this one of those games where nothing goes right? Because I don't have a lot of angles to play Las Vegas in a lot of these prop bets, Tom.
The one thing I would correlate it with is like, okay, that's a pretty light number on Geno at 204. But when you look at the receiving props, who do you trust for him to throw the ball to?
Yeah.
Trey Tucker's at 56, Michael Mayer, top tight end pick from a couple years ago before Bowers. He's at 42. Genty is at 18 as there's a fly in here. And then Jack Bech, their rookie receiver, is at 26.5. So I don't know who you throw the ball to. Like Trey Tucker is their best receiver, but also that defense, they could allocate resources to take Trey Tucker out of it, and then they just won't throw the ball. I don't think turning this game into a passing script would be the Raiders' shot of keeping it close. It would be with Genty on the ground.
Because you take a look at the wide receiver props. And again, here's what scares me, because if you have a game where it says, I think both of these sides are going to go up and down the field. Doesn't matter if I don't like that wide receiver number at 65.5. He's going to get 4 quarters of a chance to get that. Like Rashee Rice, 65.5. We're acting like he's just going to step in and be the number one, and maybe that's the expectations. Kelsey only 38.5. Worthy 44.5. But this is one of those games that screams to me sometimes, Tom, which we see out of Kansas City. 21-7 in the third quarter. They understand that Las Vegas isn't a threat anymore. And maybe we don't use the passing game. We start to ground the running game at this point. But if we do look, Tom, at touchdown props in this game, I do think there's some viable options, because if you're looking at a team total that's probably going to be around that 30 price point, you're saying to yourself, well, who's going to get in? Is it Rashee Rice you're trying to look for? Is it going to be a Kareem Hunt in the backfield, Pacheco? I actually really like Travis Kelce anytime touchdown today.
I certainly don't mind it. And frankly, it's a price thing.
Yeah.
Where the fact that they're this heavy favorites, their team total is what? 20. It's got to be at least 27.5, right, for this?
High 20s. Yep, very high 20s.
High 20s. The fact that they're all plus money is something that we don't often see. Normally, in this circumstance, we're dealing with a running back that's minus 150, minus 175. But we have a touchdown score. The first one is Rice at plus 135.
Crazy.
Everyone is plus money for the Chiefs.
Yep.
Literally every player, everyone in the game. Genty's at plus 115. So, frankly, you could just pick 2. Yeah. And as we always say, just pick the 2. You just want them to come through. Kelsey at 155. And you want Rice, it's a little bit of a lower number, 135. I honestly would go Kelsey and Hunt. Hunt at 170 against this rush defense, once they get the goal line, is a crazy number.
Yep. You know what I'm doing here on this one, Tom, because those numbers are bouncing back and forth. FanDuel still has it 170, Pacheco and Kareem Hunt. One of those has to score a touchdown today. I firmly believe that. Just trying to double up and take the plus money with a chance that they both possibly could get in. But not an interesting game off the bat. I wasn't going to take a side or a total in this one either, though. What do you got?
And the fact that you said it's 2.5 for Stafford's passing TDs it's the line is 2.5. It's plus 176 for over 2.5. If you were, in theory, look to Mahomes' alt passing TDs at 2+. The fact that they're saying it's minus 240 for him to throw 2+ passing TDs, but everyone is plus money. The books are saying we don't know who he's going to throw to, but he's going to throw 2. We just don't know who's going to throw. Everyone's at plus money.
I love it. See that, Tom? We and Tommy get on the same page with the correlations, where you just look at a team total, you look at a price point, look at a touchdown price point, and say, hold on now. If they're scared that he's going to throw 3 touchdowns and you're pricing everybody at plus money, now the hurt would be like the 4th tight end scores, but you have to understand, one of those top guys is going to get a touchdown today in this game. So that's what's going to book it there. But that game, not a ton of intrigue at that point. Another one for intrigue, Tom. Minnesota Vikings and the Philadelphia Eagles. 2.5-point favorite for the Philadelphia Eagles and a 43.5 price point. Earlier on the week, I identified the action that I wanted in this game, and that was with Saquon Barkley. I took the prop at 69.5 as a rushing prop. And again, gave it out to the people in my service, but the numbers are gone. 74.5, 75s at most outlets right now. I looked at this and said, Tom, this is a game that they have to get back to the basics. I'm not saying it's even going to work. I thought Landon Dickerson would play. He's active today. That's a big boost to the offensive line. But what hasn't been working is, hey, let's throw the football around. Let's give Saquon Barkley 13 touches. I have this peg, Tom, at 18-plus rushing attempts today for Saquon Barkley. Yeah. He's going over that prop, which means if he gets 20, Tom, it's 3.5 yards per carry. And also the game plan in this game for both sides, I don't see either team running away with this game. So you're going to get rushing in the first, second, third, and fourth quarter from Saquon. He's my guy today in this game, Tom.
I would have to agree, and it's totally dependent on where you got the number, because the fact that he's up to 78.5 rushing yards is a big change. At that point, I would play the rush attempts. If you truly believe the Eagles will say, we got to get back to basics to a certain point.
100%.
We can't be doing what we're doing. I would play a 17.5 before I played the yards. Obviously, the yard move. I don't mind the 78.5, but the fact that it's moved so much is the thing that I certainly don't like. I would certainly take the points with the Vikings at home, getting points as a home dog. I think they're a competent team. Wentz and the sacks that he's taken, especially when they were over for the 2 games in Dublin and London, that's a huge, huge issue. Given that fact, and he wasn't fully healthy, a part of me almost wants to take his under simply because I believe that there's a significant injury risk with Carson Wentz at this point.
Yeah.
That he's taken so many hits and he hasn't been healthy to begin with that I almost want to take unders on him. And it has me really scared for Justin Jefferson for his production today.
Yeah. If we are looking, you're right about this, because it's not as if like J.J. McCarthy wasn't ready to come back yet. He was trying to play. Carson Wentz is injured, and they're still saying that, like, hey, he was a tough go to get it through this week, but it looks like he's going to give it a go. Yeah. He's already not a great quarterback to start. I just don't know what I'm getting. You say, well, Donnie, everything should line up. Like, if you don't like Carson Wentz and, the Eagles are going to get back to their ground attack, why not just take the -2.5 and live with it? I actually don't know what Eagles I'm getting. They were ridiculous the past 2 weeks. So you're expecting them to get back to it, but who says they'd get back to it at this point? And they don't just get waffled on the road. So I just said to myself, if the game plan is what I think it's going to be, and Minnesota probably won't be able to blow the Eagles out or keep it within like a under 10 points, Saquon's going to get his carries. That was my angle. Touchdown props in this game, Tom. And by the way, like if you were looking to do the old rope-a-dope like I like to do, Devontae Smith plus 280, A.J. Brown plus 210. Now, understand this. You know as well as I do. It's a pretty good secondary for Minnesota, but you can run on them. But those price points are getting crazy tomorrow. Like Justin Jefferson, he's getting red zone targets, Tom, plus 140 here. Who are you looking for a touchdown prop in this game?
Honestly, like you said, those are some pretty big numbers. And Justin Jefferson, even at plus 140 is I would think, based on the math, a part of me, like, not going to tangent, but yesterday I bet on Connor McDavid to have a goal. He has yet to score this season. He didn't score yesterday, but his number was plus 155 for a goal. That's a crazy price for McDavid. It's kind of the same situation with Justin Jefferson. Yeah. If we are constantly getting plus 140s on Justin Jefferson, on Jamar Chase, whoever it might be, I would rather just bet into the number rather than like, okay, the quarterback's not great. It's not a great defensive matchup. But he will have the looks, and I'll take a plus 140 number time and time again. And that's kind of where I'm at for Justin Jefferson. And the same thing we said about A.J. Brown and Devonta Smith. The fact that they're both over 2-1 is a huge, huge number. So if you are back in the Eagles, I know you expect them to get back to Saquon at a certain point, but still getting A.J. Brown and or Smith both at over 2-1 is good.
It is. Well, I'm telling you, it's wild. The game is, again, as an Eagles fan, I'm going to watch and cheer it on, but I can see the Eagles winning by a touchdown. I can also see the Eagles losing by a touchdown. But that's where my point is. I think this is going to be a single-digit game at this point, regardless of either side that wins. So I'll go Saquon Barkley in this spot here. Saints, we're going to get to start some of these weather games here, Tom. Saints and the Bears. Not as bad weather as we're anticipating here. And by the way, do you have an because I didn't check the updated forecast for this Bears game. Let me just take a look here. I know we like to use roto grinders at this point. Let me just go down and we will find this.
Yeah, this one says rain should clear before kickoff or shortly thereafter, but the winds are still an issue. I expect sustained winds of 15, gusts coming around 30. This is obviously all for Kevin Roth, a real meteorologist. Just so it's not like I'm just saying this. Taper off, blah, blah, blah. Don't expect an impact on longer play. So it's not that bad overall. Cleveland's a different story.
So it looks like we get that precipitation in the forecast. Actually gets lighter as the game goes on for chances, at least, even if it doesn't rain. But I am seeing here the same thing as you. Wind conditions around 20 degrees. Never a good sign for the passing game and certainly the kicking game, but not as catastrophic as it's going to be, which we'll talk about with Cleveland and Miami coming up at this point. But if we are lining this up, and I'm just going through the FanDuel numbers right now. Let me just pick this one up. How did I lose that? Okay, there we go. 3.5-point favorite as the Chicago Bears and a 43.5 total. This has come down, Tom. Like early in the week, we were talking about some 6s out there, primarily 5.5s. Now we're down to 3.5s and 4s here. I don't know if it's just the weather where they think it's going to be a closer game and not trusting Chicago. Because all the shows I did this week, Tom, I look at this and be like, Chicago's usually getting 5.5 or 6 points. Hey, can they stay close? Can they win this game? Now they're expected to win, Tom. Do they win and win by margin?
I think they win, but it really comes down to how you want to bet this game. So I would not bet the Saints at plus 3.5, given the fact that the number was 5.5. So you already missed out on that. Now I understand that a lot of people are going to say, well, if a team, is with 3.5, 5.5, it's obviously not that much of a key number, but I wouldn't bet the Saints at this point. Now there's an argument to be made. Do I want to take the Bears at 2.5 once they get there? Obviously with Jake Moody, Stafford didn't get that touchdown, but with Jake Moody, now that they have a real kicker there, I could do that. But when the number moves this much and you've already missed the boat on getting 2 points with the Saints, I would not bet into at plus 3.5, even though you're getting plus 100 on it.
Passing props low in this game too. Obviously, windy conditions and rainy. Caleb Williams only 216.5. Spencer Rattler at 198.5. Receiving props obviously will be a correlation to that. Not getting a ton of numbers. Top dogs there. Odunze 58.5. Olave 59.5. It's one of those games, Tom, where sometimes I just don't want to outsmart myself. Do I think I have some angles that you could play? Yes. Whenever here heavy wind and rain comes in, when I'm an over backer typically on some of these props, I was out on this, Tom. Did you like any props here, touchdown props, whatever it might be?
I saw, I don't know where it was. Maybe it was a juice line, but I saw Olave 5.5 receptions earlier this week. It's up to 6.5. Olave is their guy. He's also doesn't have to be a big downfield threat for them. So seeing him get a bunch of targets that are all within 5-10 yards just for them to move. Is that a third TD for Devontae?
Yeah.
Oh my. So I wouldn't mind Olave if you got a 5.5, but I would not play him at 6.5. And maybe the same thing could be said about Juwan Johnson, where you just need to pick up first downs, but this game is going to be ugly.
Yeah, and also like the running environment too, like DeAndre Swift coming in with a banged up groin at this point, and it's talking about rainy, slick conditions. I don't like anything from this game overall, not even if we're looking at touchdown props, which I guess you're probably going to get some pretty good.
Kyle Monungai, the backup running back, 20. So again, if it's like, hey, Swift, he's not great, just give us a little bit of work. We'll mix in the backup running back. That I wouldn't mind.
He's over 4-1 too to score an anytime touchdown in that spot here. By the way, Matthew Stafford does have 5 touchdown passes in this game and only 182 yards. But we do have some spread drama. Not spread drama, I should say, total drama in this game to see if. That was a great catch by Devontae. They're just eating. No Puka out there, no problem at this point. Jacksonville just getting absolutely embarrassed in this game here as we talk about it. So smoke, Tommy.
5 touchdowns, and the fact that he's not going over the yards. And it's not even as if Kyron Williams is having a big game.
Yeah, they're not even running it. Just taking what they get it right there. 4-minute drive there, 9 plays, 45 yards, bang, bang, bang. Easy victory for the Rams. We'll see if you get that junk touchdown for Trevor Lawrence, or if Trevor Lawrence even comes out, let's just say, in this next drive. But Miami-Cleveland, Tom, here's the fun part about it. 41.5 earlier in the week, down to 34.5. The Browns are still a favorite in this game, minus 2.5. You take a look at these two teams coming in, Tua Tagovailoa, Miami Dolphins coming in the bad weather. Dylan Gabriel's not a great quarterback, but one of the best defenses in the league, or havoc defenses in the league, are that pass rushing attack for the Cleveland Browns. I like the Browns in this game. I think the Browns do win this game because when I hear, Tom, like the Browns are a bad football team, but we're not getting like, okay, Myles Garrett's on the chopping block and Dylan Gabriel's going to get traded, or this guy's going to get moved at this point. I look at the Dolphins and they're already talking about defensive ends being gone, defensive tackles being gone, wide receivers being gone, maybe a coach gone. I just don't know how much focus I'm going to get out of that. I lean on Cleveland at this point in a crazy ground game.
I really like the Browns as well. And I got to say, just take a look at some of the pregame videos that we're seeing from the reporters about the weather. It is absolutely crazy there. Absolutely crazy weather conditions there. And I do expect this to be a huge ground game for the Browns. They just take care of business. I think it's going to be a huge game for Quinshon Judkins. We talked about it all week, about his role in the offense overall. Coming off of a week where Dylan Gabriel threw the ball 52 times, I doubt that is the plan for the Browns. Even if this were not a weather game and it was just normal fall conditions, I don't know if the plan would be for a rookie quarterback to throw the ball 50-plus times. So I'd be interested in Judkins in this matchup versus Miami regardless, but I think that's going to be amplified today because of the weather and because of what we saw from them last week.
Yeah, pretty crazy. Look at the touchdown scoring market in this game, Tom. Quinshon Judkins, minus 125. Everybody else is plus money. Granted, you're getting massive numbers on a lot of these pass catches because the anticipation is if you're just contrarian, like, hey, maybe they'll be able to throw some touchdowns, you are going to get paid in that spot, but not necessarily. The one guy it feels like everybody expects to have a big game is the Dolphins are pretty soft. So you look at the rushing yards. Quinshon Judkins in bad weather is 91.5. So you're probably factoring in, Tom, right? 25 touches for Judkins in this game? Because everybody's going to be stacked up to the line of scrimmage. We're not saying it's going to be, hey, run wild. You might just be handing it off, Tom, getting 3-4 yards a chunk, and you'll deal with that.
Right. His longest rush is 18 and a half.
Yeah.
Which I certainly don't mind that. That's something I actually spoke about with
Yeah.
Kev earlier in the
Yep.
week. That was before the lines are posted. Because here's the thing with longest rushes. There's a limit to those. Like there's not his rushing attempt or rushing yards could be 80, 85, 90, whatever it is, but his longest rush is never going to be 25 and a half.
Yeah.
Like Saquon last year pushed the upper end of it with a 20 or a 21. Well, runners will never have that. So I would bet into the longest rush over 18 and a half. I would also look at the attempts at 20 plus rather than the yards at 90.
Yeah, you take a look at those long rushes too, and you think, well, if everybody's going to be focused on the run, it might be hard to break through. How many times do you see a 4th and 1 out there where somebody busts a 55-yard run, goes untouched? He's got those type of speed and moves that if you're up on the line, you get one guy slip and miss there and miss tackle, he might be able to run the distance at that point. Here's an intriguing game for me, Tom, and I have a fun video that I put out on it. I bet a little bit of money on it because it's just wacky. I don't know what I'm going to get out of the New York Jets offense, but Tom, I am so intrigued in this. Like, I just feel like Justin Fields has been under the microscope so much, and rightfully so, he's not a great quarterback. I'm not saying he has a great performance today. He's down Garrett Wilson. But I do know this. I actually like him to score a touchdown today. I like him over his yards rushing. And a fun prop that I put out, the ultimate contrarian of the week, I actually had it at 170.5, the passing prop for Fields. He was down to, and I'm just going to check FanDuel quickly at this point. He was down to many outlets here to 164.5. What is he at now?
67.
167.5. So he's in the 160s. I put money on that just because I wanted to watch him be contrarian. It wasn't like a great play I have or I gave it out to the service or anything like that. I'm just going to watch this game because I'm intrigued. But you know what, Tom? A half of a rushing, if you want to pay this, and I don't know if people will, these two rushing defenses are decent. The Carolina Panthers score a rushing touchdown as a team is minus 200 today. You want to lose a good parlay piece on that, Tom? I really like that because if Chuba's healthy and Dowdle's healthy, one of those guys is going to get a rushing touchdown for me today.
Yeah, Brian Thomas is looking to be pretty banged up for the Jags. He was just down for a good minute. I don't know what it was.
Yeah.
But he got like hit on breaking out. It looks like his hand or something. So that's a big issue for the Jags.
Well, I'll tell you what's interesting in this game, Tom. The Rams don't care anymore. And the Jaguars you'll watch this play coming up. It's a handoff and he got like 15 yards for ETN. They're going to score here. Like if you have an under, like this is a terrible beat for you at this point. Even though you had so many opportunities for Jacksonville, but sooner or later it's like, oh, nobody's going to score the rest of the game. You're going to get multiple fourth quarter touchdowns here. That's going to be devastating.
I want to see what this jumps up to because it's still 42.5 on FanDuel.
Yeah.
But if it jumps up, obviously you're in a spot to cash that over if they just let them score. I would hope they don't settle for a touchdown. But regardless of that, back to Carolina and the Jets. Again, a super interesting game. The Jets have done absolutely nothing. They're missing their best player with Garrett Wilson. What are they going to be getting from their offense overall? I assume most people will be looking to Breece Hall rushing plus receiving. I really do like that. I also like his receiving prop alone. His rushing plus receiving is 95.5. I would say his receiving prop of just 21.5 is very, very good this week.
Yeah, you just take a look at, and again, it should be just all Justin Fields and Breece Hall. Mason Taylor sees 40.5. But again, the defense knows well, hey, he's only got one guy to throw to. It's going to be Mason Taylor. It's almost like you go right down that list, Tom. It's like Allen Lazard. Come on, 13.5. And again, Josh Reynolds 30.5. Allen Lazard 13.5. Tom, somebody has to catch passes. If we're just correlating again, if Justin Fields stinks, but his passing prop, let's call it 170. You got one guy at 40, one guy at 30, one guy at 13.5, and a running back at 21.5. Somebody's blowing through those numbers.
They really have to. Hall and Lazard for me would be my two. Definitely Hall number one. Just get the ball into the hands of your best player any way possible. And yards after the catch, screen, whatever it might be, I really do think Hall will get there. And then I would just take Lazard as a second, as just a veteran receiver. Hey, get him the ball. Let's pick up some first downs. Let's try and get the chains.
If we take a look here quickly on some of these touchdown props in this game. Let me see here. So we'll go same game. Pick it up. We got Breece Hall plus 110, Rico Dowdle plus 150, Justin Fields plus 180. Again, I like Justin Fields to score a touchdown today. Tet McMillan, 180, Chuba Hubbard plus 210. Somebody's going to score today, Tom, and everybody's plus. Love to see that. Everybody.
There was a report earlier, I don't know if it was late last night or earlier this morning, saying that with Chuba Hubbard being back for the Panthers, they were going to play him and Rico Dowdle, that is. They're going to play them on alternating series or whatever it is. So the fact that they are both at plus 150 and 210, again, it's the same thing. You could realistically the same amount of money on both of those, and you just need one to come through, and you're net positive on that. And the chances that they both score, I would say, is still there. It's the Jets after all. Like, we're not dealing with some amazing defense. Their run defense is better than their pass, but I'm not worried about the Panthers not scoring.
Again, these games aren't like we just did Saints, Bears, Dolphins, Browns, Panthers, and Jets, and now we're coming up on the Titans and the Patriots. But there are some angles that are interesting here. The Patriots for a lot of this week, Tom, were -7. Just looking at FanDuel plus 6.5, -6.5 splits here, 41.5 as a price point here. The Titans, that hey, new coach here, we're going to play a little bit looser, maybe strip down the playbook to help Cam Ward out. How are we feeling about this game today?
So this is a really interesting dynamic, talking with some people about this. We have like the new coach thing, which is always a dynamic where it's like, okay, is the team going to come out with more energy? Is there a reason to take the Titans? I would not take the Titans at 6.5, considering the line was 7.5. I don't know if it was 8 earlier, but it was definitely 7.5 earlier in the week. Then there's also Mike Vrabel going back to Tennessee, and he had a bad departure from Tennessee. And, part of me thinks he wants to go in there and just light things on fire and have them win this game by 14 or 17 points and absolutely dismantle the Titans and prove that them getting rid of him was a bad decision organizationally, and he wants to embarrass them. So we have the new coaching dynamic, a coach visiting his former team, all of them in play. I think it's the Pats early, often. I think they cruise in this game.
Yeah. By the way, we got a first down just outside the 10-yard line for the Jaguars. They have one time out here, dump off in the flat. And he's down about the 5-6 yard line. But a big catch again on a fourth down, I believe, for Travis Hunter. Over 100 yards, Tom. 8 catches, I believe, and a touchdown this one. We'll see what he does. I always get intrigued about this, too. Like New England and Tennessee. Stephon Diggs, 51.5. He's active today. Hunter Henry, 36.5. But looking at the Titans, I just feel like when Mike McCoy takes over, I don't think this is going to be like we're going to strip down the playbook, which means, Tom, we want to run it pass it 15 to 20 times. Gunnar Helm, 17.5. Van Jefferson, 23.5. Ayumanor, 37.5. Like, who do you go to on Tennessee today, Tom?
Ayumanor, the rookie, I forget what he is, 3rd, 4th, 5th round pick. I honestly don't remember. But Calvin Ridley's out. He has been kind of their guy for the majority of this. And, part of me wants to think, like, listen, if you have a rookie quarterback, you have a rookie receiver, let's at least try and build something together if you know that they're going to be there for multiple years. So it'd be him. Chigo Okonkwo is a 50-year tight end, if I remember correctly, but I would look to him after that. But I would honestly be looking to the rushing game before I look to a secondary receiver. It would be Ayumanor first.
Rushing props in this game, Tom. Pollard, 44.5. Stevenson, 45.5. Trayvon Henderson, waiting for him. He's 35.5. You actually have really good numbers in this game. Drake May's got some wheels, 24.5. Cam Ward, 7.5. I'm in because I always like to see when the coach leaves because it just feels like, you know what, kid? Go out there and just play football today. And I want to see what he does. It doesn't mean I want to put like hard-earned money and back the Titans, but for some reason I'm sort of gravitate towards the Titans, not to cover the spread or even keep it close, but those numbers are so cheap. Like, it can't be Cam Ward throws for 105 yards in this game. Like, he's going to throw for a decent amount, which means 175 or above, and somebody's got to get there.
Yeah, Ayumanor would be number one, and let's see if there's. I would almost be more interested in Pollard or Spears before any of the other receivers or tight ends.
By the way,
that's how I would play.
I do like Justin Jefferson to score a touchdown today. I do. I think Justin Jefferson is fine. By the way, if I'm interested, still active on the roster is the Eagles' number 1 cornerback today, Quinyon Mitchell. If that hamstring goes today, you might just take an in-game live bet. Like, if he leaves the game in the first quarter, Justin Jefferson is going to crush that secondary. So something to keep an eye on that. But I do think he scores.
Yeah, agreed.
To make some sense in that one. All right, let's keep.
Ayumanor for my favorite option in that game. It's that simple.
What about running back props there? You said you liked anything in that one?
I would take some Pollard and then Spears, but honestly, they're both viable in the pass game as well.
Yeah. Chargers Colts, Tom, 4:00 game. How about this? Chargers
actually a good game.
Yeah, line's a little bit banged up, but we get Quentin Johnston back. I do like a couple touchdown passes in this game. Hint, hint from Justin Herbert. I think that makes sense. And the reason I like that, too, is you don't have the hammers at running back. So when you're inside the 5-yard line, like to say the Packers like to give the ball to Josh Jacobs. Well, they don't have a Josh Jacobs here. So I do think we get a couple touchdown passes. The Colts, even if they're down some wide receivers and some DBs, they'll fight in this game. But I do think the Chargers are going to win this game, and I do think we get points at 48.5. But my favorite play in this one, again, Herbert to throw a couple tutties here, Tom.
Yeah, I would absolutely agree with that. We saw a nice performance from Kamani Vidal last week when he took over after Amari and Hampton went out. But again, there's still somewhat of a split between Kamani Vidal and Hassan Haskins. And frankly, at the end of the day, like you said, like your best player is just Justin Herbert. And now that you have Quentin Johnston back, Ladd, Johnston, and Keenan Allen. With Herbert's passing TD prop at minus 142 for over 1.5, I would just play multiple pass catchers rather than go to Kamani Vidal at plus 110. That's a crazy low number for what is a third string running back when it's all even fourth string running back. I think Haskins was the third, and it was Hampton, Najee Harris, Haskins, Vidal. So give me QJ or Ladd at plus 185 and 80, and even Keenan Allen at 190. Those are where the TDs are going.
Yeah. And also Ladd, 61.5 in this game. Tyler Warren, actually 57.5. Quentin Johnston coming back this week from a hamstring injury, 58.5. Keenan Allen, always Mr. Reliable, 47.5. Michael Pittman Jr. listed at 49.5. Alec Pierce at 38.5. I do think we get some points and some bombs in this game as it goes back and forth. How about some of those touchdown scoring props in this one? Jonathan Taylor heavy at minus 165. Tyler Warren plus 160 intrigues me, but also those wide receivers, I expect multiple touchdown passes. They're all plus money there. Big time here for the Chargers.
I think it's got to be Tyler Warren. Outside of the Chargers guys that I just said, I think Tyler Warren is the best. When you have this high of a target share and we're still sitting at a plus 160 price, again, I would buy into that time and time again.
Tommy, how about this question here?
Teaser pieces, you like Pats?
He's going to take the Pats. Who else would you go with? Would you take the Dolphins, 6.5? I wouldn't do that. Patriots just to win the football game as he's on right there. 8.5 on the Colts. Broncos minus 2.5 to beat the Giants.
I mean,
Packers down to a half. Like, where would you go today on this card?
I don't mind the Packers. Yeah. That's fine. And it depends on where you got the Chiefs.
Yeah.
Because if you get the Chiefs at, if you've got them at 12.5, you can get them down to 6.5. Then I'm just covering by that.
Touchdown or less at that point, or a touchdown. Let me see. Yeah. We got 4th down, Tommy, and 13. For Lawrence and the boys.
I just see Rams.
Dang.
They score?
Understays. Nope, understays.
Oh, man.
Reflected ball in the back of the end with a chance for.
That's a good question. Listen, I'll just be honest, as I've always said, like, I don't bet a lot of teasers. So would you take the 49ers up to 7.5?
If let's just say he already has the Patriots, right? If I had a game that I said, you know what, I'm going to take this and feel comfortable with it. Let's see here. It probably would be the Packers today.
Yeah.
Now, also, understand this too. Like the Packers up in the air still, if Jacobs is going to play with illness. If he plays, I really like that. The Colts probably do stay within a touchdown of the Chargers. I think that does make some sense. But also the Denver Broncos minus 2.5. Look, I like the way the Giants played last week against the Eagles. Completely different environment. Unbelievable defense that's going to pin its ears back against the Giants with not a lot of weapons. I do think Denver makes sense today too.
I just saw the play. The stream is behind, but you got to catch that.
Yeah. Tough seam right there as they whittle it away at this point right now. But the Colts Chargers should be a fun time here. Let's get to that Giants Broncos game, Tom. 8.5 is the Denver Broncos favorite, and a 40.5, as we said. Like the way the Giants played last week, but a little bit different circumstances in this one. If you look at the passing props, 178.5 for Jackson Dart, Bo Nix, 224.5. And if we take a look at some of the rushing props here, Cam Scatterby, 53.5, Dart, 35.5. Again, runs like a chicken with his head cut off. Nix, 18.5, and then Dobbins and R.J. Harvey. How do you play this game? Because I wouldn't take Denver as a side because it's over a touchdown. I don't love the total, but I just don't feel like I'm taking the Giants. I'm going to get a complete offensive effort in this game. I don't. I think Denver locks them down.
Was this number 6.5 on Friday?
Let me see here. Let me go to the opening number. FanDuel had this opening number 7.5, and if we go to FanDuel, it was 7s for the majority of the week. I don't have it at 6.5 at FanDuel, and it's up now to 8.5 with some steam.
Yeah, that's it's a decent move. I would definitely not play the Broncos on an 8.5 number. If it was 7, I would definitely take the 8.5 with the Giants. Again, they've been playing significantly better. There's obviously a new energy about them. It's got to be just going to Cam Scatterby. Like, I think that is the spot to trust. At the end of the day, getting the ball to him and or Wan'Dale Robinson should be the main two options on offense for the Giants. But it would be Cam Scatterby with rushing yards.
If we take a look at the touchdown props in this game, anybody to find paid here? Dobbins minus 120, Scatterby only plus 120. I would like to see more of that. But again, let me just do something quick here, Tom. We'll go over to Bet365. I want to take a look at the team props in this game. So if we go to team props each side, rushing touchdowns for the Giants, they have 4 against the Philadelphia Eagles. I actually took them over to get 1. It was like minus 140 price. What a steal. Dart ran it in first quarter, first drive. It was fantastic. Minus 175, Tom, as a team for the Giants to score a rushing touchdown. And then plus 1.5 for the Denver Broncos at plus 165. If we look at the game itself on their main props, you have rushing touchdowns for the game, 1.5 at a minus 110. I definitely think we get 2 rushing touchdowns in that game. So you can use that again. As Tom and I were messing around the last game, they are parlay pieces. Like, hey, I think Denver wins the game, and then you just put it in their money line, like Denver to win the game, money line, the touchdown props. I think that makes a lot of sense in this point. But touchdown passes, Tom, you want to get risky? Over 2.5, which means 3 total in the game, is plus 130. You're getting a discount there.
Not the worst, but I do like the idea of just taking a rushing prop or the rushing TD with the team to score. I will say when it comes to other touchdown scores, Cortland Sutton. As I talked to you on Friday about Cortland Sutton over 56.5 receiving yards, that number is up to 59.5. I really like him. I will also say Denver, they are inducting Demaryius Thomas into the Ring of Honor today. And I saw a clip from Cortland Sutton earlier this week about him carrying over a team tradition that Demaryius Thomas left that Sutton had to do when he was a rookie, and now Sutton has carried it over for the team. I do think this is a big game. Coming into this week before the Thursday night game, the Giants were dead last in the league for receiving yards allowed to opposing receivers. Cortland Sutton, when you look at this, the receiving props, Donnie, Cortland Sutton's at 59. Let's just call it 60. The next guy is Troy Franklin at 32, Ingram at 25, Mims at 21. That means the Denver passing offense is Cortland Sutton up here, and then it's just everyone else. Then it's just all these other guys. Pass the ball to Cortland Sutton. He goes over his prop. He scores. Frankly, by the time game comes around, I'm probably going to ult him up to 70+, 80+. How
about this next game, Tom? Here's what's interesting. Washington opened up as a 2.5-point favorite. They're now a dog in this game, and everybody knows why. The pass catchers are all down for Washington. But that total, Tom, nobody cares that all the pass catchers are down for Washington. It's like Washington's still going to move the football up and down the field with, Luke at wide receiver and the boys. You know what I mean? I mean, I look at this and say, my one bet that I really liked earlier in the week, I took Dak Prescott over 1.5 touchdown passes, gave it out to the boys. It was minus 165 to minus 170s. It's now minus 200 at most outlets here. I do think they move. And CeeDee Lamb's back in this game. George Pickens is there. Not great defenses, but is that too high for one team? Like, what do we expect out of Jaden Daniels? He's just going to make, water out of wine? Wine out of water? You know what I mean? Come on.
Yeah. So Chris Moore and Jalen Lane are 2 receivers that have gained a lot of steam for the Commanders. Yeah. And I think this game, and granted, the fact that we have a 54.5 total and the highest receiver is 42 yards for Zach Ertz at tight end. I think that this game has to be a Daniels rising tides lifts all ships kind of where he makes the players around him better, combined with the terrible defense on the side of the Cowboys, where he's simply able to distribute the ball here, there, everywhere, and they're just able to move the ball effectively downfield because the Dallas defense can't stop them. Therefore, everyone is kind of eating because he himself is making everyone around him better.
And also, you take a look at the running back position, right? Jacory Krosky-Merritt, 66.5. I mean, he's going to get carries. Jaden Daniels, 45.5. Somebody's going to have to carry the football to move those sticks here. Javonte Williams, Dak Prescott on the other side. Touchdown prop scoring market in this one. Javonte's minus 170. Figuring he's going to be the goal line back, 55 total. They're probably going to run at least one in. Same thing with Jacory Krosky-Merritt, minus 115. Then everybody else, Zach Ertz came into this game, or coming in this game, I should say, banged up. CeeDee Lamb, plus 120. George Pickens, plus 150. Jake Ferguson, plus 165. Jake the Snake seems to find the end zone all the time. That's not a bad look, plus 165.
It's really not. I will say, with the various live boosts that both, FanDuel and DK offer, I honestly, all things Sutton to 100, it's not the worst call. I really do like him this week.
Who do you like in the game in this, by the way, Tom? Because I'm just like,
I think I have Dallas.
I have Dallas in one of my
pick 'em pools. I have to bet on them. To the point of the touchdown scores, take CeeDee Lamb's price at plus 120. Throw whatever these live TD boosts on them. If you get them over 150, that's just an objectively great price. Same thing with Justin Jefferson. If you have a chance to boost him up, and obviously they limit you to like $20 or whatever it is, but still, I would take CeeDee Lamb at $20 or $25 at plus 160 rather than plus 120.
Can we alt Sutton to 100 today?
Yeah,
not going up against those.
Like I said, I really like Sutton this week. There's no reason that he shouldn't be able to. Like I said, I talked to him Friday about over 56.5. It's over up to 59. So give me Sutton all the way.
2 games left, Tommy. Green Bay Packers, Arizona Cardinals. What looks to be a blowout or should be a blowout. We'll see which Packers team shows up, which including is Josh Jacobs going to show up today on the board of possibly taking the Green Bay Packers quarterback here to go over 1.5 touchdowns. Just want to see who's in that lineup. Is Wick's going to be available? Because if they should be able to move the football, but at the same time, Jacoby Brissett's going to get his second start. Looked pretty good last week. This total is listed at 44.5. In the touchdown market here, it's going to be expensive on a couple guys. Jacobs minus 185 and Emmanuel Wilson minus 185. Well, why would that be? There's a chance that Josh Jacobs doesn't play, so they're trying to protect it with Emmanuel Wilson at this point, where if Jacobs doesn't play and you have a Wilson plus 200, they're going to get beat up by that as people just betting it down. Dobbs plus 165, which I think is a legitimate chance to catch a touchdown. McBride shows up as a plus 180. Is this going to be an easy victory, or does this Green Bay Packers feel like it's going to be like a 24-20 game where they win but don't cover?
It might be one of the latter, also given the fact that their flight to Arizona yesterday was delayed like 5 hours. I will say Chris Brooks is the third-string running back, and he's currently listed at plus 190. So if you truly believe that Josh Jacobs does not play, the Chris Brooks number was the Emmanuel Wilson number earlier in the week, so you could buy into that. There are no rushing props listed for the Packers guys. I would say the Packers win, but they may not cover, which is why you could use them in that teaser that we spoke about before.
Yeah, take a look at some of the passing props, Tom. Golden is 47.5. Dobbs is 49.5. Kraft is 46.5. Still probably a week away from getting back Christian Watson when that offense can really get full go. Zach Thomas is supposed to be back at right tackle, which could be a big improvement, at least in the passing game today. I do think the Green Bay Packers win. Not comfortable with the side itself, but I got to tell you, if you said, Donnie, you had to take something in this game from a side or a total, I'd probably go over the total. Like, I liked what I saw to Brissett, and you're not just going to keep the football on the ground against the Packers. Something has to happen, which means that pass rush can get home, force bad throws, interceptions, touchdowns the other way.
Yeah, I would take the over if anything.
Yeah, we'll see what happens. Night game tonight, Tom. Good stuff here. Atlanta Falcons, San Francisco 49ers, 46.5. Mac Jones going to get another start in this one. I like the Falcons, but the Falcons going 3,000 miles away from home makes it a little bit tough. I just think the Niners are banged up, but they are getting a little bit of help back. George Kittle's going to play today. And again, I like Mac Jones being in the starting lineup. If I'm looking at the touchdown scoring market today, yes, of course, I think Bijan scores. And I think Christian McCaffrey scores, but they're really expensive prices, minus 165 and a minus 150. I'll tell you the guy that sometimes you look at and say, just throw him the football. Drake London was phenomenal. Yes, Tom, give him 20 more targets, man. Why not?
Him and McCaffrey, the fact that both of their props are at 5.5 receptions is crazy. When you know that they can legitimately go a dozen plus targets, they only need to convert half those. And a 50% catch rate is bad, but the fact that that's all you need in order to cash a prop, I still think is very good. So I like CMC over 5.5. I like London over 5.5. It's really simple.
How about some of those yards? Too? Drake London, 71.5. Kittle coming back first time after the injury, 53.5. Kendrick Bourne, 47.5. McCaffrey, 45.5. Juwan Jennings, 35.5. DeMarcus Robinson, 16.5. But for me, I just look at that like Bijan Robinson is a running back at 40. It's kind of crazy, but he's going to eat that up. I just think the ground game, with Fred Warner being out, Tom, opens up the tight end, because I know you hate Pitts, and I'm not taking Pitts either. But that hole where Fred Warner does everything, I'm interested to see how much that running game is going to exploit that today.
It really should. To see both CMC and Bijan each go 80 plus combined, it shouldn't shock anyone tonight.
No, shouldn't. There we go, Tommy. Full slate here, getting ready for kickoff in a minute. Any last thoughts for the people out here before we send them on their way?
No. Big Sutton day. That'll Rice catches a pass on his first drive. Hopefully we see that within 10 minutes.
And by the way, tomorrow night, boys will be back, Tom. Double header on Monday Night Football. 2 good games to break down, so make sure you join us here. We'll have a lot of fun doing that, but enjoy your bets today.